If you are over the age of 60 and you are about to go to sleep tonight without watching this video, you may be making a choice that could cost you everything. I know that sounds alarming. I know you have sat through health warnings plenty of times before. But what I am about to walk you through is different, because this has nothing to do with disease, nothing to do with your genes, and nothing to do with bad luck. This is about something you are actively doing right now, in the quiet hours before you fall asleep, that is silently laying the groundwork for a heart attack or stroke while you rest. And the most frightening part is that most people who do this believe they are doing the right thing. They think they are relaxing. They think they are letting their bodies recover. But according to data from the American Heart Association, nearly half of all fatal cardiac events in adults over 60 occur between 10 at night and 6 in the morning. Half of them while you are asleep, while you are completely unguarded, while your loved ones are just down the hall. This video is going to walk you through exactly which nighttime habits are responsible, why they are so devastating to the aging heart and brain, and what you can do beginning tonight, not next month, not after your next checkup, but tonight, to meaningfully cut your risk. I will give you a complete protective evening routine before this video is over. All I ask is that you stay with me, because what I share in the middle of this video, specifically habit number 3, is something I am convinced is behind more silent overnight deaths in people over 60 than almost any other single factor, and almost nobody is talking about it. Dr. Eric Senat, Introduction and Why This Matters After 60. My name is Dr. Eric Senat. I am a board-certified physician with more than 3 decades of experience in internal medicine and geriatric health. I have sat beside patients who made it through overnight cardiac events, and I have had to deliver the worst possible news to families who were not so fortunate. And across all those years of practice, one pattern kept showing up again and again. The people who suffered heart attacks and strokes in their sleep were not always my most critically ill patients. They were often the ones who appeared to be doing reasonably well. People who ate decently, moved their bodies a little, took their medication most of the time. But they shared a small collection of nighttime habits that were quietly dismantling the very system designed to protect them during rest. I am sharing this because you deserve to have access to what I have witnessed firsthand. Most physicians simply do not have the time to sit with a patient and go through all of this step by step. But this information is not a luxury, it is urgent. Here is what most people get wrong about the sleeping body after 60. Sleep is not a passive state. Your cardiovascular system does not simply switch off when you lie down. It enters a sophisticated biological repair mode. Blood pressure is supposed to fall. Heart rate is supposed to slow down. The brain is supposed to flush out the toxic byproducts that build up throughout the day. When this process runs properly, sleep is the most powerful form of cardiovascular protection your body has available to it. But when it gets disrupted, when certain habits interfere with this cycle, the result is not just a bad night of rest. The result is physiological chaos. Blood pressure that climbs instead of falling, arteries that tighten instead of opening up, blood that thickens instead of flowing freely, and in a body that is already over 60, with arteries that are already less elastic, and a heart that is already working harder to keep up, that chaos can become life-threatening within just a few hours. What I am about to share challenges what most people believe about sleep. Stay with me through all of it, because by the time we reach the single most dangerous habit on this list, you will understand why so many people never see it coming. Habit number 5, eating a heavy meal before bed. Let us begin with habit number 5, eating a large or heavy meal within 2 hours of going to sleep. Now, I know some version of this advice has reached you before, but I want you to understand what is actually taking place inside your body, because when you grasp the mechanism, late-night eating will never look the same to you again. When you consume a heavy meal close to bedtime, your digestive system demands a massive surge in blood flow. Your stomach, your intestines, and your liver all need significantly more circulation to handle what you just ate. Your heart has to pump harder and faster to meet that demand. Your blood pressure rises at the exact biological moment it is programmed to be falling. A landmark study published in the European Heart Journal, which tracked more than 100,000 adults over several years, found a clear and statistically significant connection between late-night heavy eating and nighttime cardiovascular events, with the risk being especially elevated in adults over 60. And here is the part you almost never hear about. Late eating dramatically worsens acid reflux in older adults. And acid reflux at night is not just an uncomfortable inconvenience. It can directly stimulate the vagus nerve, setting off dangerous arrhythmias and irregular heart rhythms that are far more likely to turn life-threatening in an aging heart. Margaret was 67 years old when she came to see me, complaining of fatigue and occasional nighttime palpitations. She ate dinner every night around 9 in the evening, usually a generous meal, and was in bed by 10:30. She had no idea anything was wrong because she had never experienced a cardiac event. A 24-hour heart monitor told a completely different story. Her heart was showing irregular rhythms repeatedly between midnight and 3 in the morning, every single night, right as her body was still working through a meal that was too large and too late. We moved her dinner to 6:30 and reduced the portion size. Within 3 weeks, her nighttime rhythms had normalized. She looked at me and said, "Dr. Sanat, I had no idea I was doing that to myself every single night. Most people don't. The rule is straightforward. Eat your last meal at least 3 hours before you go to bed. Keep it light. Keep the portions modest. Your heart will work less, rest more, and last longer." Habit number 4, going to bed dehydrated. Now let us move to habit number 4, and this one catches nearly everyone off guard. Going to bed even mildly dehydrated. After the age of 60, your body's natural thirst signal becomes noticeably weaker. You can be clinically dehydrated and feel almost nothing. Many older adults also deliberately cut back on fluids in the evening to avoid getting up in the middle of the night. I completely understand the reasoning, but here is the medical reality hiding behind that comfort. When you are dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous. Thick blood moves more sluggishly through your vessels. Slow-moving blood clots more easily. Now pair that with the natural slowdown in circulation that comes with sleep, when your heart rate drops and blood pressure decreases, and you have created the perfect biological environment for a clot to form, travel to the heart and trigger a heart attack, or travel to the brain and trigger a stroke. A study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease found that even mild dehydration raised the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events by more than 60% in adults over the age of 55. More than 60%. From something as straightforward as not consuming enough water during the day, Robert was 71 years old, retired, and considered himself to be in good health. He told me proudly that he never touched water after 6 in the evening because he slept soundly through the night and refused to compromise that. One morning, his wife found him unresponsive on his side of the bed. He had suffered an ischemic stroke overnight. A clot had cut off blood supply to a critical region of his brain. His blood work showed severely concentrated blood. The hospital team clearly documented dehydration as a contributing factor. Robert survived, but he lost the use of his right hand permanently. He has asked me to share his story because he does not want anyone else to make the same decision he made. The solution is simple. Drink a full glass of water 1 to 2 hours before bed. Use the bathroom right before lying down. Keep a small glass of water on your nightstand in case you wake up during the night. Do not trade your blood chemistry for an uninterrupted night of sleep. One bathroom trip is a far better outcome than a stroke. If any of this is resonating with you, if you recognize one of these habits in your own evening routine, drop the word yes in the comments below. It tells me this information is finding the people who need it most, and it might just prompt someone else reading those comments to take this seriously too. Habit number 3, undiagnosed sleep apnea, the silent killer. Now we are moving into the top 3, and I need you to understand that each of the remaining habits is more dangerous than the one before it. Habit number 3 is one I believe is claiming lives silently across this country every single night, and almost nobody connects it to heart attacks and strokes. Undiagnosed sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a condition in which the airway partially or fully collapses during sleep, causing breathing to stop. Sometimes for 10 seconds, sometimes for 30, sometimes even longer. And in severe cases, this happens hundreds of times per night. Every time breathing stops, oxygen levels in the blood plummet. Every time oxygen drops, the brain triggers an emergency response. Stress hormones flood the system, heart rate spikes, blood pressure surges. Then seconds later, breathing resumes, oxygen returns, and the whole cycle starts over again. This repeats over and over, hundreds of times, while you believe you are sleeping peacefully. Research from Johns Hopkins University found that untreated sleep apnea triples the risk of nighttime heart attacks and quadruples the risk of strokes. quadruples. And studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association estimate that more than 80% of moderate to severe sleep apnea cases in adults over 60 go completely undetected. The warning signs include loud, persistent snoring, waking up gasping or choking, morning headaches, extreme daytime exhaustion no matter how many hours you sleep, and blood pressure that stays difficult to control even with medication. Donna was 64 years old and had been snoring for years. Her husband had eventually moved to the guest room. She thought it was embarrassing but assumed it was harmless. One night, her oxygen level dropped so drastically during a sleep apnea episode that her heart developed a dangerous arrhythmia. She woke up in the emergency room. The cardiologist told her she had come within minutes of not waking up at all. She now uses a CPAP device, and her nighttime blood pressure has dropped 22 points. She calls it the machine that saved both her marriage and her life. If you snore, if you wake up exhausted regardless of how long you slept, please speak to your doctor about a sleep study. This is not something to put off. This is urgent. Habit number 2, skipping or mistiming heart medication. Habit number 2 is something that nearly every adult over 60 is guilty of at one point or another, and the consequences are far more serious than most people realize. Skipping, delaying, or taking blood pressure or heart medication at the wrong time. Blood pressure follows a precise biological rhythm across a full 24-hour cycle. In the early morning hours between 3 and 6 a.m., the body begins preparing to wake. Cortisol rises, heart rate picks up, and blood pressure climbs. This is known as the morning surge, and in people whose medication has already worn off overnight, that surge can be catastrophic. Plaques inside the arteries rupture under the pressure, clots form, heart attacks and strokes follow. Studies published in The Lancet and replicated across multiple large clinical trials have shown that taking blood pressure medication in the evening rather than the morning reduces the risk of cardiovascular events during sleep by nearly 45%, nearly half. And yet most prescriptions are still written as take once daily in the morning, because that is the default, not because it is the most protective option. I am not telling you to change your medication schedule without speaking to your doctor. I am telling you to have that conversation. Ask specifically whether taking it at bedtime might offer better overnight protection for you. And in the meantime, never skip a dose. Never take it several hours late. And never assume that because you feel fine, your blood pressure is fine. It may be spiking to dangerous levels in the early morning hours while you are completely unaware. Thomas was 69 years old and had been managing high blood pressure for a decade. He was what I call a casual complier, meaning he took his medication on most days but skipped it when he forgot or when traveling. He told me he figured that missing a day here and there could not possibly matter that much. One Tuesday morning, his wife called 911 at 4:30 a.m. Thomas had suffered a massive hemorrhagic stroke. He had not taken his medication for 2 nights running. The morning surge arrived with absolutely nothing standing in its way. Thomas spent 4 months in rehabilitation. From his hospital bed, he told me he would give anything to go back and take those 2 pills. Take your medication. Take it at the same time every evening. Set a phone alarm if you need to. This is the single most controllable risk factor on this entire list. Habit number 1, the deadly bedroom temperature truth. And now, the number 1 deadliest nighttime habit in adults over 60. The one I promised you at the start of this video. The one I believe is responsible for more preventable overnight deaths than almost anything else. And the one almost nobody discusses because on the surface it does not look dangerous at all. Sleeping in a room that is too warm. Stay with me here because I know this sounds almost too simple to be fatal, but the science behind it is rock solid. When you sleep in a room that is too warm, above 72 degrees Fahrenheit, above 22 degrees Celsius, your body works continuously through the night to shed excess heat. Blood vessels in the skin dilate to allow heat to escape. Your heart rate stays elevated instead of settling into its natural protective nighttime rhythm. You sweat, losing fluids and further concentrating your blood. Your sleep becomes lighter and more broken, robbing your body of the deep restorative stages it needs to repair the cardiovascular system. And critically, your blood pressure never achieves its natural nighttime dip. Research from Harvard Medical School and data published in the European Heart Journal have both identified elevated sleeping temperatures as an independent risk factor for nighttime cardiovascular events, particularly in adults over 60. But here is what most people do not realize. Cold is equally dangerous. Temperatures below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, below 15 degrees Celsius, cause blood vessels to constrict sharply. The heart is forced to pump against significantly greater vascular resistance. In arteries already stiffened by age, that constriction can crack a plaque and trigger a heart attack within hours. The ideal sleeping temperature range, the one that allows your heart rate to fall naturally, your blood pressure to dip as it should, and your sleep to reach its deepest restorative phases, is between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. This is not about personal preference. This is about cardiovascular physiology. A room that is 2 or 3 degrees too warm may feel perfectly comfortable. Your heart knows the difference. The protective nighttime routine. Now let me give you the protective evening routine I promised. It is simple, it is accessible, and if you follow it consistently, research suggests it can cut your risk of a nighttime cardiovascular event by more than 40%. At 6:30 in the evening, eat your last meal of the day. Keep it light, lean protein, vegetables, nothing heavy or fried, and nothing after that except water. At 8 p.m., drink a full glass of water. Take any prescribed medications exactly as your doctor has directed, and set a phone alarm so you never miss a dose. At 9 p.m., begin winding down. No emotionally stimulating television, no arguments, no stressful phone calls. Dim the lights in your home and allow your nervous system to begin its natural shift into rest mode. At 9:30 p.m., set your bedroom thermostat to 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Place a small glass of water on your nightstand. If you suspect sleep apnea, position yourself to sleep on your side with a pillow supporting your neck. At 10 p.m., use the bathroom completely before lying down. Take any final medications, and as you settle in, take 5 slow, deep breaths. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system and begins signaling your heart rate to drop naturally. This routine costs you nothing but attention, and the return on that investment is a cardiovascular system that is protected rather than stressed throughout the night. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with something that matters deeply to me. Your heart has been beating for you every single minute of every single day for 6, 7, 8 decades. It has never asked for a break. It has never quit on you without giving some kind of signal first. But those signals are quiet, and most people are not paying close enough attention until it is far too late. You are not broken. Your body has not given up on you, but it needs you to be deliberate about these nighttime hours, because what you do in the 2 hours before you close your eyes is shaping what your heart and brain experience for the next 8. Your 30-night challenge in closing. I am challenging you to follow this routine for 30 consecutive nights. Just 30. And I am confident you will notice a real difference in your energy levels, your morning blood pressure readings, and the quality of your sleep in ways you have not experienced in years. Share this video with someone you love tonight, a partner, a sibling, a friend who lives on their own. You may never fully know whose life you just helped protect by passing this along. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so now. Every week I release content designed specifically to help adults over 60 live longer, stronger, and with greater independence. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a comment below telling me your age and where in the world you are watching from. I read every single one, and I love knowing that this information is reaching the people who truly need it. Your heart cannot undo years of nighttime strain in a single evening, but it can begin healing tonight. Start today. This is Dr. Eric Senat, and I will see you in the next one.